Hello, hello. Welcome to More Influence and Impact, the show that unlocks the secrets of success for multi six and seven figure entrepreneurs. I am your host, Celia Faye Meisel, sales growth consultant, and I'm here to help you tap into the wealth of knowledge, strategies, and experiences of today's most influential industry leaders. I have a special guest for you today, Susie Moon, who has over 25 years experience in the corporate world and a wealth of experience and knowledge in running an online business. She is a master connector who supports sales and marketing operations of visionary coaching businesses. And hi, Susie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Celia. It's great to be here. Thank
Great to
you.
have you. So, today we are going to be talking about shining a light on visionary coaches. That's who you specialize working with. And you have some really super special things that you bring into business and ways that you help your clients that really make them love you and want to hire you and want to recommend you out to their friends. And so, what I'd love to do is just start out for you to give us a little bit of a background on Susie Moon Consulting and your business and what it is that you do.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the opportunity. It's great to be here. I started my business in 2019, and I really wasn't sure what direction I wanted to land in. So I started as a virtual assistant and was just finding different people to work with. You just start taking a job and you figure out what works. And what I was finding is that my true gifts were sharing messages of other people's, being a champion for them, and being an advocate. And is what I did in corporate. I was a sales and marketing support person, and it allowed me to take that experience and bring it into what I was doing. And I loved working with coaches. So if I met somebody and they had this big vision and they kept talking about it, it was going to change the world, it gives me goosebumps. It's exactly the person that I would want to work with.
Yes, yes. And so in since 2019, you have grown your business organically, right? So I'd love to hear like your journey of how you've grown it organically and then how like coaching and mentorship has helped you to get where you are because you work with very successful business owners.
I do. I do. And it's been a journey. It's been up and down, as most small business owners would say. And I think one of the factors that really has helped me is having a coach. I have had a coach, I've had many different coaches. And I just think having somebody there to help you along the way, to be your champion and to, push you forward and make you do hard things is so important. I fell a lot. I didn't do everything the right way, whatever that means. But I learned through trial and error of what works, what doesn't. I built a team in 2021 and I didn't do it the right way. I wasn't screening the people. I wasn't looking for the right talent. I had good people, but I just didn't feel confident in what we were offering. So that changed, and so I kind of went back to just me for a little bit, and then I started growing intentionally and finding the right people to do the things that would light us up and to help those people we work with, those visionary coaches. All they want to do is just show up and speak. And so our mission is just to help them do that, get them in front of more people and allow them to do what they do best.
And I love that you just get right to like the honest, the real and raw, because that's one of the things about this show is like having influence and impact isn't just about like all the shiny great things that only happen. It's those challenges that really like mold us. And I think for our audience, these multi six and seven figure business owners, like they have bumps in the road, and sometimes they will go into a coaching program and like follow all the right A to Z steps that they're taught of like building this business, and then they get in there and they're like, okay, this doesn't feel aligned. So could you share like when you had built that team and then you realized like things were off with it, like how did you know that things weren't right, that they weren't aligned for you? And then how did you know to go do something different in a way that did feel aligned?
Yeah. gosh, I don't know if it was like just a final aha moment, or I was working all the time,
Okay.
and I realized that I was on the verge of burnout. I was going to crawl in a ball and want to suck my thumb. It
Mhm.
was awful. And I think, I don't know if it was working with Julie Miller Davis in the productivity part of what she does and coaches on. I think that really helped, the learning how to delegate correctly. I worked with Boss Actions, Talmar Anderson, and she really helped identify what a good or not employee, but a contractor would be. What does that mean? And you want to find somebody who does it better than you.
Mhm.
And I think I wasn't, I really had good people, but just they weren't the right fit. How about that?
Mhm.
That's the better way to say it.
Mhm.
Um, and I wanted them to succeed, but I also needed to think of myself. You know, I'm running a business, and just because I like someone doesn't mean that they're the right fit. So I had to just kick it up a notch and really find a team that would support me and be better than me at all the things. And what I'm finding, and it's funny because I'm realizing I'm more of a visionary than I ever thought I would be. And so I don't know if it's osmosis, I'm learning to be the person who just wants to show up and speak. And how does that work? I've always been the person behind the scenes doing all the things. So it's fascinating how we morph into this better version of ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And there's like, a lot of those labels of especially like the integrator slash operator and visionary, and it's like you're here or you're here. So did you self-identify as more of an operator type person before, and now you see yourself stepping in as a visionary? Or I'm curious about that.
That's completely, I just thought that I was born to be behind the scenes.
Okay.
And my personality is not, you would never know that because I'm an extrovert. I love connecting people, I love networking. And you would never think that I would be behind, but my confidence wasn't there. And so, through coaching and just doing things like this, I didn't have the experience, didn't have the courage to step out and be in front and be on a stage. And it's scary. But when it's scary and you're facing that fear, then you're in the right place. So I'm just trying to embrace it. Each year I get older, middle aged, you just got to step up and do it.
You
So
do, right? Because time, we're not going to get it back. And we're going to be talking in a little bit about you stepping out on stages more virtually and from your outside projects, from your business. So, what about, you come in and your company does help your clients really take care of the details, right? So they can be in their zone of genius. So, what does that look like? I think first, like, what are some of those challenges that those clients are facing when they're ready to hire you? Like, how is that showing up in their business?
I think they're really overwhelmed with managing the details. They love doing the coaching, they love speaking, they love being, on a podcast or hosting a podcast. They probably have a community of some sort, but they're just not good at coordinating all the details. And according to my endotype formula, I'm a conductor. So I like to take all the pieces and I want to direct the orchestra. That's really my zone of genius, is doing that, making sure everything is taken care of and juggling all the balls in the air so they don't have to. So our team comes in and, we look at all the things happening and just kind of reverse engineer everything and figure out what the dates are and when things are due, and, keep the team moving. So most of these visionary coaches have teams, and we work with those contractors to make sure all of the pieces are being taken care of.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a little bit more accountability. So then the business owner isn't having to do that accountability piece.
Yes. The people call me the mother nudger because I'm always either pushing them, hey, did you do the thing yet? Or, hey, what about trying this? Like, let's stretch you a little bit. I like to push people to their limits because people do that to me.
Mhm.
And it's fair.
Yeah, and we all need that, right? I
Yeah.
know for me, I have very high follow through in all of my personality typing and everything in my Colby. So like I visionaries love me because I'm like the get it done. Like it's gonna happen. But I know for me, what comes up with that is I'm like, oh, I'm gonna come off like I'm being pushy or I'm being like my mom. Or so it's funny that you say mother nudger because it's like that's something that I've had to work through. Like it's actually a gift, right? People want that from us. It's not like a problem or something to avoid.
Definitely. It's something a lot of business owners need. They don't have that coworker sitting next to them saying, "Hey, did you work on this yet?" We have to be accountable on our own, especially when we're working at home. And it's hard. It's hard to keep up with things if you don't have a coach, or so that's where the mother nudger thing comes in.
Yeah, and it's so neat how I've just really noticed a shift since COVID where um we do have more like even working from home. I mean, I was working from home since 2016. I went full time in my coaching business online and now I feel like I have more of an ecosystem of support and people are more comfortable and really showing up as themselves online. So it's really neat to see, how that's evolving from like a networking perspective, but also like a company perspective. Like COVID evolved us, I think, with our virtual remote, work, ethic and all of that and culture much faster than we would have. I think I've heard like COVID advanced some areas like 7 years. So it's been really neat to see and just hearing what you're saying too, that you're really coming in and bringing that accountability. And also, it sounds like creating some culture inside of the companies you support as well.
Yeah, you got to add a little fun. I mean,
Yeah.
if we're not having fun, why are we doing this? So
Right.
I try to insert myself in there when it comes to fun too.
Yes. Yes. And now your company really, do you specialize in sales and marketing operations? Is that like your thing, or do you kind of go above and beyond that with your businesses that you support?
I would say we really focus on the sales and marketing operations. Like we
Okay.
want to make sure that if you have an event, that all of the pieces are put together and the customer experience is a good one.
Mhm.
From beginning to end, from the idea to after 3 weeks after, we want to make sure that everything is set up. So I guess that is our specialty, but we also throw in some extras because it's the Susie Moon factor. You kind of do more than what is needed. So we're looking for opportunities for our clients to find podcast interviews to be on, to write an extra article for help a reporter out. Just things that they can do. Getting Pat Miller to do a TEDx, like pushing him that extra part. It's important, and I think they appreciate that, and they know that we're not just a business that we close our doors and we're not there. We're a partner. We partner with them. We feel the same things they feel, and we walk together in the journey. It's so much fun, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's awesome. And people are they're looking for that partnership and that really somebody to come and like really understands their business. And I see a lot of hiring and firing going on inside of businesses. And there are so many people that kind of come in and they're just like, I do what I do. And they kind of live in a silo and they're kind of checked out. And so when a visionary coach gets that support in their business, it just really excites them. And I think even that feeling seen and feeling like their business has that support will just naturally kind of level up their confidence to step in and be more of what they see themselves becoming.
Yeah. And we're a support system. So if
Mhm.
they just need to get on a call with us and vent about something, and usually everything we do through them is, they talk to us. So if it's a text message, they speak their message instead of typing.
Mhm.
And they just need to get things out of their head. That's one of their biggest challenges because they just need to communicate with their voice.
Yes. Yeah, my friend and I, we call it verbal processing. I just need to verbal process. I just need to talk it out. So,
Yeah.
yes. Well, they're so lucky to have you as the sounding board and to get those ideas. And because you're the way you work in the business, you actually like help to move those ideas into action and a plan and follow through as well.
Definitely. It's just
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much fun. Cannot talk about it enough because it's
Awesome. Well, then we know you're in your zone of genius. And so you were just talking about like the going above and beyond and all of that. So let's now talk about this, because this show is more influence and impact. And, one of the reasons your clients hire you is because like you promote them and you talk about their businesses. Like you've been name dropping on this show today, right? So now like our listeners and our viewers can go in and be like, oh, let me look, who's Pat Miller and who's Julie Miller Davis, And so you advocate and champion for those people. So talk about that because I think that that's like part of your philosophy. It's a part of who you are, but also like how it has like helped you grow and build your influence and impact.
Yeah. Well, and one of the criteria, there's, well, two criteria that really need to be there when we start working with somebody. I need to believe in it, what they're doing. I have to be 100% in their mission and fully, I just want them to succeed. Um, and then I guess, well, that's really the main one. But one of our values is advocacy. We advocate for our clients. It's so important that if we can talk about you, it's easier to work with you. We know how to get people to sign up for your events. We have to believe in that. And then the goosebumps is the other thing that has to happen. I know it's a physiological thing, but I have to have that that feeling when I get to talk with somebody. Connecting them with other people and other opportunities is so important. And I think that's something they really value. Even just going in and having them go to LinkedIn and connect with the people that they just met on a networking event. That's just basic stuff and something that maybe another virtual assistant agency wouldn't think about, going that extra mile. So it's just who we are.
And what you do spans beyond your clients, right? You're always connecting and introducing people. Check out this networking group. Check out, like you've promoted other networking groups and, and just pairing people. So that goes above and beyond. Can you talk about your philosophy around that?
Well, I really believe that there's enough for everyone out there. I don't believe in competition. I believe in abundance. And I work with Teresa Romaine in learning that philosophy. I coached with her before I even started my business. And that was one of the reasons I was able to, is because I had this abundance mindset. And I just feel like there's enough out there for everyone. There's resources available. And why not just help one another? Like if we're all going in the same direction, let's make it better and make it more fun and help each other out. I just would never hesitate to help somebody else out that was struggling. I love brainstorming in Facebook groups when people say they're struggling. Oh, how could I help them? And that's one of the reasons I like the Idea Collective, is that we have those weekly idea slams in there and we're always able to help one another. It's fulfilling.
And so did that come really out of you doing that abundance mindset coaching, or was that something that you kind of naturally did before that? Is this the connecting and champion and advocating?
I think it's just part of my DNA. I really have always been a connector of some sort. And maybe it was my experience in corporate, just being resourceful. Maybe even goes back to when I worked at Epic. I was kind of a unprofessional stalker, like being able to find things quickly, easily. And, it was important for my job to succeed. And it's just always stuck with me. So maybe DNA is a little too far back, but I feel it's just something that naturally I'm good at.
And then you get to build your business around that and kind of make it a part of your brand. And what does that feel like?
Oh, it feels like easy peasy. Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want to do something that's simple and that feels right?
Right.
But it probably, to other people, they struggle with that, or it's not something they do. It's just not automatic. Whereas for me, I don't even think about it. So that's when you have a gift where others struggle. So
Yes. And I think it comes back to that being in your zone of genius. And like you said earlier, trial and error. Like we have to try things and test things. Like I know pre-COVID connection calls, they were like my bread and butter. I could get on a connection call and somebody would say, I think I need your services. Okay, great. Let's get on a strategy session. I was like booking out, booking out, booking out. And then my business shifted during COVID, and my ideal clients didn't necessarily do connection calls. And so it really took me a while to like test different things and have different, think strategies and tactics I learned from coaches to like really find, what really worked for me. And, getting into doing this show has been amazing because it's like a connection call on, plus 100 or 1,000, because it's like we get to connect at this really high professional level and really bring everything out. So it's exciting to have that conversation around like being in your genius and, be in a place of like, hey, yes, I feel that. And sometimes you just do things and you're like, yes, I know I'm out of my comfort zone, but actually like this strategy is just not for me, right? We have to have that experience sometimes so that when we find the things that do work for us, they really click and they feel good. And we know to just keep going and going with them.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great
Yeah.
one.
So let's talk about, we've talked about the business a lot, and I know that you have some other things going on, and we talked about stages and speaking. So share with our listeners about like what your other project is that you have going on.
I actually have two right now. One
Okay.
is the Super User Index, which is an online directory of software experts that are there ready to help you if you reach out to them. We're looking for more people to be in the directory, and we want people to visit the directory when they're struggling with whatever software they are. They're knee deep in it, and they just don't want to sit on hold with customer support. The other thing that I'm really energized about is Panty Liner Productions. And so I started a comedic company at the beginning of the year in hopes to share my jokes. I never thought of myself as a comedian before, but I'm really trying to embrace it and step into it. And I love jokes. I love being funny. I've always been witty. But figuring out a way to share that with more people is my goal. And I'm working on an animated series. It's still developing, and it's most of the humor is below the belt. So
Mhm.
if my mom were still alive, she probably would not be a fan. But I'm embracing who I am, and I have to step into what it could be. So I prefer not to do any stand up. I would rather do all sit down comedy if I could, and be behind a computer, but I'm figuring out ways to step around that. So we'll see. We'll see what
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think I've attended an event where you were the featured comedian and it was super fun, and I think that was like right when you got started with this.
Yeah. That was very hard for me. And I did it. And now I have some experience, and I have two speaking things this year coming up in the fall, and we'll see what happens there. It's going to be interesting, to say the least.
Exciting. You just follow where it takes you, right? Just keep following that.
Yeah.
Amazing, Susie. So how do people connect with you? We're going to be providing you some links and your socials and all of that. But let's say that we have some visionary coaches who heard today, they're like, I really need that support, and I really want somebody who's going to advocate and champion for my business. How can they connect with you and learn more about your services in a more personal way?
Yeah, the best way to probably reach out is either on my website, which is susiemoon.net, or just go to LinkedIn and send me a message there. I love connecting people. And when I do connect with people and have a one on one, half the time I rarely talk about myself because I'm so interested in how I can help them and what tips I can offer, that I rarely get a word in, to talk about myself. But I would be happy to connect with anybody on either.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to connect and talk about yourself today and share and open the book on Susie Moon and share some of your philosophies and your approaches, because people see you out there and what you're up to, and I think that people are going to get a lot of value from hearing your story and hearing more about what really drives you. So thank you so much for your time today. And thank you to all of our listeners and viewers at More Influence and Impact. This is Celia Faye Meisel, and we will see you soon. Bye.